Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, feds and degenerates. Oh, I said evening. Good afternoon, feds and ladies and gentlemen, feds and degenerates, cuckolds of all ages. It's that time once again. It's time for Mild's Culture Plate. I am your host, Mild Kevin Miles, and you're locked in for the next hour for interesting news and culturally relevant conversation. Welcome, welcome, welcome. We've had an interesting week, to say the least, and we have an interesting show for you today. We don't have a lot of topics, but I might get a little ranty. And first off, let me just start off with the show notes. My deepest apologies for having to go live a few hours earlier than normal today. We have some football being played with the NFL going on, and I've got a family get together I'm going to be going to right after the show. So yeah, got to do the family stuff. Uh, the internet stuff. We can reschedule internet stuff. We can move some stuff around and make sure I have time to do them both. Because unlike some live streamers out there, I don't just cancel shows willy nilly. I try to at least give you something out there for my folks, especially those working nights, working over the road. You know, people who rely on podcasts and live streams to be in their ear. Uh, to get through the day, to have something other than their boring workplace or their boring job or their boring kids to keep their minds active. So, folks, yes, we have an interesting show. So, yeah, I'm going to get a little bit ranty, which you know what that means. That means it's time for some whiskey. If you're out there, please come into the chat and say hello. Let me know you're there. I'll give you a toast. I'll show your message on the screen. I'll give you a shout out. I'll let you know how much I appreciate you, the viewer, being in this chat right now, because quite frankly, you all make it easier for me to do this. I do suffer from a little bit of stage fright. I suffer from a little bit of the nervousness, and having people to interact with always helps a little bit with that. So without further ado, I'm going to crack a little bit of the Egan's Irish whiskey. Got a little bit of the Egan's from the heart of Ireland. From the heart of Ireland. Vintage grain, aged 8 years. It's not an expensive whiskey, but it is quite tasty for a cheap Irish whiskey. All right, I'm just going to set that there. And so, cheers to anyone out there. Nobody's come to say hi in the chat yet, but cheers if you're out there. All right. So, what have we had going on this week? We've got the left wing making up stories out of whole cloth that JD Vance is a couch fucker, claiming he mentioned as such in his book, which he did not. And then the right wing, to retaliate, uh, kind of made up that Tim Walz had to have his stomach pumped after drinking a gallon of horse reproductive product. Yes, you heard that right. Horse semen. So you had the right wing kind of just returning the favor. Like, you want to make up lies about our guy, we'll make up lies about your guy. That was some pretty fun back and forth that happened this week. And then all of a sudden, the attention then shifted to uh, Kamala Harris and Donald Trump and race, and then it shifted back to the vice presidential candidates and their military service record. And let me just say, yeah, it seems like good old Tim Walz is trying to take a bunch of credit for a bunch of military service when, he was a weekend warrior who then retired when things got tough. Anyway, I'm not going to get into the whole discussion about rank. I think that's for veterans to do. I think that's for servicemen to do. I did not serve, so I'm not going to shit on the guy for his rank. I'm not going to shit on the guy for his service. But if you want me to compare a guy who spent 4 years giving his entire life to the military, to another, and actually saw a combat zone to a guy who lied about using weapons of war and basically spent every weekend and became, an officer, a, uh, a couch soldier, so to speak, a desk behind the desk kind of guy. Yeah, I'll choose JD Vance every time. And again, I don't love any of our candidates. I really don't. Which brings me to the next topic. Really, you've also seen a civil war happening on Twitter, on X, between two very large right wing accounts. You've got Tim Pool and Cat Turd. Cat Turd reacted to Joe Rogan, saying that Joe Rogan liked RFK Jr. And Cat Turd was like, no, 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 you have to like Trump. Everyone has to like Trump or they're fucking dead to me. Cat Turd flipping out and going crazy. And then Tim Pool kind of baited him into, shitting on him with some low hanging fruit, saying that, well, you Republicans have convinced me to vote for Bobby Kennedy. And, yeah, it was just bait. It was a troll to drive up engagement, and it was, classic Tim Pool, classic Tim Pool. I wish Tim Pool had the balls to formulate a coherent political narrative than he does, in the troll and bait. He's got a lot of balls to do the trolling and baiting, but he doesn't have much balls when it comes to actually having a conviction behind such trolling and baiting. But so be it. So be it. I'm not going to shit on Tim Pool. I think overall he's a good. Oh no, I just accidentally closed a window. There we go. Overall, I think he's a positive thing for the conservative and anti-media narrative movement. Anyway, so what else do we have? What's the big news of the week? Well, let's see. We've been talking about these protests over in the UK, and I do want to bring this up here. I guess things have escalated so much with what's going on in the UK. So they started arresting protesters, right? And then in response to the arrests of the protesters, you had 4chan, and let me bring this up. Let's see. You type this 4chan UK police. Let me bring this up here. So you've got 4chans that decided to troll UK police services. So they have these tip lines and snitch lines. So this is from @RealLordMiles on Twitter here. Okay, so this is their live chat. Someone's here for my daughter. He's brown and smelly and came from France, but he's brown, so I'm not sure what you can do for me. What do you mean here for your daughter? He's carrying a knife. Excuse me, he's carrying a knife. Where is this happening? In England. Where? West Yorkshire. There are approximately 600,000 a year. This line is tapped, so I must be brief. This is your king. The Jews are holding me hostage in Buckingham Palace. As your sovereign, I'm ordering you to march to London and dissolve Parliament. Oh no. Thank you for contacting us, Nate Higgers. How can I help you? I've hidden 3 bombs inside 3 schools. Yeah, you have 3 days to find them. What schools are they? Clock is ticking. Good luck. And then, thank you for contacting us, Nigel. How can I help you? Hi, this is a bot. I want to report a crime. No, it's not a bot. And then inward, 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 inward. Story, it was my cat. She is very racist. Okay, so there you have it. You had 4chan trolling UK police, and suffice to say, UK police did not like it. So they decided to now threaten Americans. Let's listen to this little news report. It's about a minute video here.
We will throw the full force of the law at people. And whether you're in this country committing crimes on the streets or committing crimes from further afield online, we will come after you.
Talk to me about that, because we have seen some high-profile figures whipping up the hatred. You talked about it in there with the officers, in fact, about this being added to by online commentary. I mean, I'm even thinking of the likes of Elon Musk getting involved.
Elon Musk.
What are you considering when it comes to dealing with people who are whipping up this kind of behaviour from behind a keyboard, maybe in a different country?
Being a keyboard warrior does not make you safe from the law. You can be guilty of offences of incitement, of stirring up racial hatred.
Okay.
There are numerous terrorist offences regarding the sort of publishing of material. All of those offences are in play if people are provoking hatred and violence on the streets, and we will come after those individuals just as we will physically confront on the streets the thugs and the obs who are causing the problems for communities.
Keyboard warriors, folks. That's you and me, man. That's you and me. Hey, we got AWR, Apocryphal World Records. Cheers, brother. He says he's lurking and working. Well, I'm glad I could provide a little entertainment for your workday. Cheers and welcome. Stay tuned. We're gonna be talking about men and women later, and the dual mating strategy. That's gonna be a big topic today. So yeah, I'm gonna get nice and saucy before I rant about that. Anyway, let me go ahead and bring that down. Okay, so in the spirit of Metropolitan Police Commissioner Mark Rowley that we just heard from, in the spirit of his criticisms, we're going to then go to the next news story here, because, all of this UK stuff kind of kicked off with the difference between, those who've come to the UK from more Muslim countries, and the difference between the religions of Muhammad and the religion of Jesus Christ. The differences in the followers, so to speak. And in the spirit of our lovely police commissioner Mark Rowley, there we're gonna cover this next news story out of Iraq. Iraq debates legalizing marriage for 9-year-old girls. Iraqi parliament proposed amendments to the personal status law, which could legalize child marriages and strip women of key rights. Has sparked wide outrage and protests across the nation. Protests planned at least 7 provinces throughout Iraq on Thursday in response to the proposed amendments to the personal status law that could legalize child marriage, strip widows of inheritance, and enable sex slavery. Iraqi parliament began debating these amendments on Sunday, raising significant concerns that among human rights activists and citizens alike, Breitbart reported. I'm just going to pause right there and say, isn't it a good thing we spent 20 years to bring them democracy? Isn't it a good thing that our good friends over in the UK spent lives and fortunes along with ourselves, spending lives and fortunes bringing these people democracy? And now, no, child rape is just legal. Child rape is just legal. Let me just say, is this the diversity the UK is looking for? Is this the diversity? Now, granted, this is Iraq. This isn't the UK. And many of the migrants coming to the UK are from North Africa, not from Iraq. I get it. There are different subsects of Islam. But again, the UK and the United States spent trillions and millions of lives to quote unquote bring democracy to Iraq. And the Iraqi parliament now wants the men of Iraq to be able to take child brides and then not give them inheritance when they pass away. Amendments would allow men to opt for traditional Shiite or Sunni Islamic mandates over the country's existing legal standards like marriage consent Yeah, marriage consent. That pesky marriage consent. Alimony and child custody. Current Iraqi law mandates that both men and women must be 18 years old to marry and provides protections for widows and interreligious marriages. The proposed changes could drastically alter these protections, potentially legalizing child marriages and giving fathers full custody rights in divorce cases unless they choose otherwise. Notably, the amendments, well, okay, but you have fathers have custody until they're 9, and then the new husband would have custody, right? Because they don't have consent to marry and they have child marriage. So that means a dude could just come up and be like, "Oh no, this is my wife now," right? Am I getting this wrong? Somebody tell me I'm getting this wrong. The amendments would require Shiites to follow the Jafari school of Islamic law, which permits girls to marry at the age of 9 and boys the age of 15. The legal code also includes provision for pleasure marriages, temporary arrangements that can last as little as an hour, which critics argue could be used to justify prostitution and sex slavery. Pleasure marriages, eh? Imagine the idea of being united under God for a couple hours just to get a little peek, just to get a little sniff, get a little taste. You know, this is the problem, and we're gonna be talking about dual relationship strategy later. We're gonna be really addressing the topic of the little as an hour versus actual marriage. We'll be talking about that here in a little bit. Lawmakers are reportedly under intense pressure from radical clerics and other influential figures to pass the law. Following the fall of Sunni dictator Saddam Hussein and the subsequent rise of Shiite influence backed by Iran, Shiite leaders have gained significant power, particularly through Popular Mobilization Forces, PMF, a group of militias integrated into Iraqi's armed forces during the fight against ISIS. Oh, so we put them in power. Nice. An anonymous parliamentary source revealed to Medialine that Shiite powers are leveraging their influence to ensure the law's passage, stating they're now negotiating with us. Either we pass the law or no other law proposed by the rest of the blocs will be passed. And since they're the majority, they pass this law, but they need more votes. So not only is child grape on the table, but they are holding the entire government hostage unless they get a coalition to agree to the child grape. You have to love it. You have to love it. The proposed amendments have faced strong opposition from human rights activists and a coalition of over 15 female lawmakers determined to block the changes. Our rejection is not based on emotional issues, as some might claim, nor it is driven by external motives, but rather based on legal, religious, professional, and social observations and stems from a sincere concern to protect the Iraqi family, the lawmakers said in a statement translated by the Emirati newspaper, The National. Shiite clerics like Sheikh Mohammed Khalil al-Sanjari and Syed Jafar al-Mosawi maintain that Islamic law considers girls mature at 9 and boys at 15, thus permitting marriage at those ages. Human Rights Watch highlighted the prevalence of child marriages in Iraq, noting that despite current law, the government does little to enforce it. According to UNICEF, 28% of girls in Iraq are married before 18, and the UN Assistance Mission in Iraq reports that 22% of unregistered marriages involve girls under 14. Okay, so yeah, that's from Newsmax via Breitbart, and yeah, you have to love it. You have to love it. So, amongst all of this flurry of back and forth between the Trump campaign and the Harris campaign, we have a lot of accusations about, and let me bring this up here. Let me bring this up real quick. Where is it? Latest. Let me try latest here. So the propaganda is deep, yo. No results. Okay. Oh, that's why I can't spell reflection. Sorry. Doing this in a minute here. Okay. So there've been lots of back and forth about things like crowd size and there've been propaganda. And so this is one of the latest things. We've got this photo of Tim and Kamala getting off of the Air Force Two plane or whatever. And by the way, let's see, did I keep another? I'm gonna have to bring that other photo up too, because we'll have to talk about that one too. I wasn't going to, but now that we're getting into this, I will. So you may see these red arrows and this little red circle here. They're kind of hard to see on the live stream here, but you see the reflections, right? You could see the luggage carts. You could see reflections of the Secret Service agents and the security teams in the. Let's see if I can zoom in here. Here, let me open image in new tab and see if I can zoom in. All right, let's do this. Zoom, 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 zoom. Okay. So you could see people, you could see items, you could see reflections. Okay, so there's the cart or the stairs. Okay, down here you could see this Secret Service agent right here. But where are all the people? Where's the crowd? You see the building. Where's the crowd? Where is the crowd? Uh-oh. Not sure what just happened there. Oh, I zoomed in. That's what happened. So you got all these people. You got this photo. Oh, okay. And then, yeah, they're holding up signs, signs with white text, white signs should be easily reflective off of the blue. And again, sorry to people like Apocryphal World Records that may be just listening to the audio. I don't know if you can see the video, but yeah, you clearly, yeah, and look, there's people with cell phones. Where's their cell phone footage? I want to see cell phone footage. So, people just blatantly lying about crowd size. You have all these photos of these Kamala Harris rallies where, she's packing stadiums allegedly. And of course, she has some help from celebrities to do such things. Oh, damn it. I closed another tab I meant to have open here. But, this is kind of got me asking the question. And I did ask on Twitter earlier, who is our president right now? And is this Air Force One or two? I swear I had that one open. I guess I didn't. Anyway, here we go. We'll use this one. Okay, share this tab instead. Okay, here we go. So here's the person we're supposed to believe is running the country right now. He's chilling on the beach. Literally chilling on the beach. And we've got some stories out of Russia. We've got some dangerous war shenanigans happening. And the president of the United States literally looks like a corpse laying on the beach. Our commander in chief of our military. Oh, he moved his arm. Oh my God, he's alive. He's alive, thank God. He's more alive than Susan Wojcicki of YouTube. And again, I don't want to celebrate deaths, but that's another piece of news we had is Susan Wojcicki of YouTube has passed away. of turbo cancer. Not going to comment about any medical treatments because we are on YouTube, but little bit interesting story there. So with all these appearances of the president, vice president, again, I have to ask who's running the country. And then you have the propaganda that I mentioned earlier. And now all of a sudden, this is somehow a big news story is that Trump may have mixed up black politicians in recounting a helicopter emergency with Willie Brown. President Trump may have been mixing up black political leaders when he insisted he took a nearly disastrous helicopter ride with Willie Brown, even after the former San Francisco mayor said there was no merit to the story. Trump insisted he was correct about the ride and had records to prove it, and posted more about it on his Truth Social site, criticizing the Times for questioning my story about a forced landing of a helicopter in a field with the former mayor of San Francisco, Willie Brown. And it says, first of all, it was New Jersey, not California, and it was Willie Brown, not former Governor Jerry Brown. But now Willie doesn't remember. No, he remembers. But no, Willie Brown doesn't remember because he wasn't on the helicopter in New Jersey with Trump. Another black political leader from California was. That man, Nate Holden, told Politico and the New York Times he believes Trump got his black political leaders confused. Holden, 95 years old, a former California senator, recounted for those publications a time in about 1990 when he and Trump rode a helicopter in New Jersey that had to make an emergency landing. Willie's the short black guy living in San Francisco, Holden told Political. I'm a tall black guy living in Los Angeles. 1990. Ladies and gentlemen, that was 34 years ago. What do you remember about 34 years ago? Can you remember even very notable things? Can you remember details perfectly? Random people you were hanging out with? Do you remember even like people who were at your birthday party that year, who were at your dinner table during your birthday that year? I don't. I went down in a helicopter with him. We thought maybe this was the end, Trump said at the conference in response to a question about Brown. We were in a helicopter going to a certain location together, and it was an emergency landing. This was not a pleasant landing. Trump claimed in his new conference that Willie Brown dished out some bad gossip about former San Francisco District Attorney Kamala Harris and the Democrat nominee for president. Brown responded Thursday by telling the Chronicle, you would have known if I had gone down on a helicopter with Trump. I would have never been on a helicopter with Trump. He's also said he would never speak poorly of Harris. On Thursday night, the Times reported that Trump had once been on a helicopter ride with former California Governor Jerry Brown, and apparently it confused the two political leaders. Trump, former Governor Brown, and Gavin Newsom took a helicopter ride together on 2018, where the Camp Fire, California deadliest wildfire, had nearly wiped out the town of Paradise, killing 85 people. Both Jerry Brown and Gavin Newsom have said there was no emergency landing. Okay, well, who cares about that? Anyway. So this is apparently a big deal that Trump mistook a couple of people he allegedly hung out with in 1990. I'm not going to shit on him for that. Not when you have a vice presidential candidate that can't even remember the rank he achieved in the 24-year military career. But, we're focused on this. We're focused on race and memory and bullshit when we have Russian military ships off the Alaskan islands. U.S. Coast Guard cutter on routine patrol around Alaska's Aleutian Islands came across a Russian ship in international waters, but within the U.S. exclusive economic zone. Crew on the Coast Guard cutter Alex Haley on Monday detected the vessel about 30 miles, 48 kilometers southeast of Amukta Pass, the Coast Guard said Friday in a statement. A helicopter aircrew from Air Station Kodiak spotted the vessel. The vessel was in transitioning in international waters, but was still inside the U.S. exclusive zone, which extends 200 miles from the U.S. shoreline, according to the statement, nautical miles. Coast Guard vessel did not communicate with the Russian ship, but followed it as it moved east. We met presence with presence to ensure there were no disruptions to U.S. interests in the maritime environment around Alaska. Commander Stephen Baldovsky, commanding officer of the Alex Haley, said in a statement. In July, the Coast Guard, while on patrol, spotted 4 Chinese military ships north of the Amchitka Pass in the Aleutian Islands and international waters, but also within the U.S. exclusive economic zone, officials said. Russian and Chinese bombers later that month flew together for the first time in international airspace off the coast of Alaska in a new show of expanding military cooperation. The Defense Secretary, Lord Austin, said at the time raised concerns. Flights weren't seen as a threat, and the bombers were tracked and intercepted through U.S. and Canadian fighter jets. But it was the first time that Chinese bomber aircraft flew within the Alaskan Air Defense Identification Zone. It was the first time Chinese and Russian aircraft took off from the same base in northeast Russia. So you got that happening. And you have this. This is okay. Now this, we're getting a little more into the I can't find a news story, but this is being reported by a lot of people on the internet. So take it as you will. This is my disclaimer that this is not my claim to make, but allegedly we have NATO hitting Russian air bases with giant missiles, potentially nuclear. We'll go ahead and watch this video here of the explosion. Giant mushroom cloud. Again, this may not be, but I thought in context of that last story and of the President of the United States chilling on a beach, the Vice President flying around on jets, hanging out with celebrities. Who's in charge of the country right now? Who is in charge of the United States military? Who is running our country? We, the people, demand to know who the fuck is running the country. Is it Klaus Schwab? Probably Klaus Schwab. And, as I said, Kamala Harris has been holding these giant rallies in big stadiums, and these stadiums have been, filled. Well, to get into these stadiums, you need an ID. Yes. The rally will be held Friday evening at Desert Diamond Arena in Glendale and is invitation only. The Arizona Democratic Party started sending out non-transferable invitations by email on Thursday afternoon. Only those who RSVP'd to the event and bring ID matching the invitation will be allowed in the arena because of security concerns, the email said. Attendees are being asked to arrive no later than 3:30 p.m., although the official start time of the rally has not been announced. And we have the Hodge twins commenting, the left thinks that showing your ID to vote is racist, but they won't let you into the Kamala rally without showing your ID. For security reasons. Because who needs security around a ballot? Who needs security around an election? We don't need that at all, do we? And then, and now finally, in election news, we have about 6 news outlets today that are making a big deal about some kind of low-key recorded videos that allege Donald Trump continuously calls Kamala Harris a bitch in private. Look, okay. I mean, I think the entirety of America knows he doesn't like this woman. He's going to call her a bitch. But he hasn't done it publicly and has maintained a certain level of class publicly, maintained a certain level of decency publicly. Meanwhile, here are the kind of things that Kamala Harris says publicly.
And as a woman, there's a balance to be struck between being tough and being a bitch. Turn that off. And as a woman.
So Donald Trump can't say the word bitch in private, but you can have Kamala Harris lecturing women about the difference between being tough and being a bitch. Good to know. Good to know. Anyway, that's going to do it for the election coverage. We're going to get into the topic of the day, the title topic here. And we're going to talk a little bit about women and dual mating strategies. I feel like it's important to cover, especially with the earlier conversation about the Iraqi, just downright misogyny of, hey, let's just kind of throw all women's rights out the window and take child brides unconsensually and just do whatever, right? I think it's important to understand that there are two extremes to that, and that we in the United States, we live in a time where we still have the opportunity for the maximum amount of freedom for everyone. And one thing that I keep meaning to do on this channel is to do a good rant about collectivism versus individualism, but not necessarily looking to go there today, but the idea that we need to understand that rights belong to individuals and not groups, not collectives, not race and gender. Everyone should have the right to consent to romantic encounters. Everyone should have the right to certain freedoms. Everyone should have certain rights. Now, again, how you defend the word rights is also, a lot of people like to use that as a weasel word to mean everything they fucking want, right? Privileges. They're talking about privileges. Rights and privileges are two different things. Rights are abilities you're born with, that you flex them. They're like your muscles. There are things that can only be taken away, never given. Right? You have an inherent right to exist. You have an inherent right to speak. You have an inherent right to keep personal property and keep it hidden from search and seizure. Those rights can be taken away by other people, but they can't be given to you. No one could give you the ability to speak. You're born with it. You're born with vocal cords. You're born with the ability to write, to type. Anyway, I'm getting off kilter here. But my point is, so we're at a critical juncture where we are giving the maximum amount of freedom and rights to people. And, as the old Spider-Man tale goes, with rights come responsibility. With great power comes great responsibility. And, with our freedoms, we have to be responsible with them. And this is where we are in the United States, is we've gone so far the opposite direction, so far away from tyranny, that we don't encourage responsibility. We don't shame people. We don't make people face the consequences of their actions like we're supposed to in the West anymore. We are so afraid of offending one another, so afraid of giving someone icky feelings, that we will just let predators walk among us and take advantage of our system. As such, we face new normals, right? Where just the slightest bit of shame, the slightest bit of conservatism, the slightest bit of modesty is seen as repression, is seen as oppression, is seen as restriction on people's rights. And it's insane. As such, the way men and women behave nowadays, right? Live for today, not for tomorrow, has led to hypergamy. And, I've covered this before, especially when talking about HOMAth and other like MGTOW and men's rights type of channels. But it's important to know the root causes of hypergamy. And it's quite simply that people don't view fun and responsible in the same breath, right? They view them as antithetical to one another. And so here we have. Let me go ahead and bring up this Wikipedia definition here and read this here. Okay, so this is the Wikipedia entry for strategic pluralism, also known as dual mating strategy. Okay, so now here we go. It's a theory in evolutionary psychology regarding human mating strategies that suggests that women have evolved to evaluate men in two different categories, a binary, if you will. One, whether they are long term providers, and the other, whether they contain high quality genes. The theory of strategic pluralism was proposed by Stephen Gangstad and Jeffrey Simpson, two professors of psychology at the University of Mexico and Texas A&M University, respectively. So the MGTOW community likes to throw around the phrase alpha fucks, beta bucks, right? That means, you have a strong, thuggy type dude, like a bad boy, right? He's good for a couple days, right? He's good for that transactional, that what was that earlier, temporary marriage? Oh, I closed that article, didn't I? Damn it. He's good for an afternoon, good for a weekend. But he's also the type not take care of his kids. He's also the type to not want to pay the bills and get a job because he's a bad boy. He doesn't fit in the system. He makes his money the hardcore way, right? So he's bad to have kids with. He's bad to get married to. He's bad to settle down with. No, you got to settle down with the guy who might not be as exciting. When we grow up in America, we're fed a lot of bullshit from Disney, from daytime talk shows. And again, I want to make it very clear. I'm not trying to preach polyamory or anything as a solution. I don't claim to have a solution, but we get beat in our head this idea of some monogamous fairy tale where we're going to meet one person who's going to maximize our love, our passion, our ability to create a large healthy family, and we're just going to come together, and it's just going to grow together, right? We get this beat in our head from when we're a child to when we're an adult, and marriages don't work like that. Marriages are give and take. They're good times and bad, right? Sickness and in health. It can't all just be excitement or life building. It's literally you're spending every day with these people. You are a unit. Now you're sharing a life, but it's not that simple. But women have keyed into this. Women have keyed into this at a very young age, and they realize I don't want a husband at age 18. I don't want a husband at age 25. I don't want a husband at age 35. And this is referred to in MGTOW communities as the cock carousel. It's the idea that women will continuously have one night stands while they're young, And then at some point in their life, the old biological clock starts ticking, and then they want to start having kids and then realize, oh, my tastes in men have to change. Now, the reason I'm talking about this is there have been some viral posts on Twitter that have stirred quite a debate. It was originally a repost over to Twitter from Reddit, and I've seen like 5 people post this, and this just came out of my replies. And I replied to this to someone who replied to this that replied to someone else anyway. But so this is from Rothmus on Twitter, who reposted this screenshot from Reddit. Boom. And so this is from Reddit's True Off My Chest from impressive test 1814. I think I destroyed our relationship by trying to compliment my boyfriend. My boyfriend and I are both 28 years old and together for 2.5 years. Yesterday night, we were drinking and one thing led to another, and I tried to compliment him by saying he's not someone I would hook up with or be a friends with benefits with, but marry. I thought everything was fine, but he seemed extremely distraught after that. I realized how he understood it and tried to clarify it, but he's still the same this morning. He told me he needs space to think for a while and left the house. All my friends tell me I messed it up, and guys tell me it's not a compliment, and most men will understand it differently. I think I destroyed our relationship, and I am panicking right now. Is this a compliment, folks? Do you think this is a compliment? Look, you take the first half off. Yeah, you seem like the kind of guy I would like to marry. Boom. Sure. Fine. When you're saying I would not hook up with you or be a friends with benefits with you, to a guy that's like, oh, I'm here for resources and not fun. Like, I don't mind having a one night stand every once in a while. I wouldn't mind having a little side nookie every once in a while. I'm not necessarily always looking for a woman who wants to get married. Now, granted, fellas, you should be looking for someone who's the total package. And ladies, you should be looking for someone who's the total package. But when you do this, when you talk like this, you're delineating the two. You are flat out admitting that the dual mating strategy exists and it's a real thing and it's something you ascribe to. And you're saying, you, my partner, you're only good for one half of the equation, not the other. You're not fun. You're responsible. Now, granted, if you had to choose, that is the one to choose, in my opinion. But it hurts as a guy, right? I was with a partner where I came across her anonymous blog that she had done where she had written a lot of steamy things about a previous boyfriend. This was back in my early 20s. And like there was a vibe you get from reading something like this, that this is a person that is heavily conflicted in their mind. Like they're so attracted to this person, but so frustrated at their ability to commit, so frustrated at their inability to be a responsible person, but yet you can tell there's an excitement there. And it concerned me. It concerned me because like I realized this person is never going to write blogs about me. This person is never going to have those conflicting feelings about me. Why? Because I'm a nice guy. I don't treat them like shit. I don't just walk away. I don't give them that give and take excitement. And it really took a while for me to realize, okay, well, some relationships might need that, but that's not healthy. Like some people might want that out of a relationship and think that that's exciting, but that's not healthy. But it is what it is. And this is part of the reason why you have a lot of young men and women who just completely destroy one another in dating in their teens and 20s, and they don't really realize what they want out of a relationship until their 30s or later. I mean, you have people into their 40s still participating in the cock carousel, so to speak, or dudes having one night stands and getting hookers. And look, I'm just going to say, hey, if you're one of those dudes, no judgment here. I understand that for some guys that's preferable to the divorce grape. I get it. But ladies, the cock carousel, it doesn't lead to good places. I mean, it leads to a night or a couple months of good fun, but it will destroy your ability to have a family. And yeah, this lady on Reddit who thought she was complimenting her boyfriend by essentially saying, look, I wouldn't necessarily fuck you if you didn't have all the good qualities you bring to the table as a husband. I mean, in a way, that's also telling on yourself, right? Saying, look, no, but I will fuck all these guys who I've had sex with in the past. I will fuck all those guys who just were losers and didn't have what it took to have a committed relationship or keep my attention. Like, so it's a double-edged sword. You're cutting down the worth of your partner and yourself with one swipe and then calling it a compliment. Oh, the arm of my chair is a little loose. I'm going to have to bust out the old Allen wrenches later. All right. Well, folks, we're reaching close to the end of the program, and it's a Saturday, so you know what that means. We're going to do a Love Does Admonish, and we're going to stay with the theme. We're going to stay with the same theme of dual mating strategies, so to speak, multiple mating strategies. So if you're not familiar with the Love Does Admonish segment, there's a YouTube channel out there called Love Don't Judge. And the premise behind it is people have unique relationships that they don't want to be judged for. So what do? They put it on the internet where the most judgmental people will point their fingers at them and laugh. And we here at Mild's Culture Plate like to take their request not to be judged and analyze it to determine whether or not this is good old, just wholesome love, or whether there's an underlying evilness to what they're doing. I don't even necessarily want to say evilness, but there's an underlying agenda to what they're saying, to where maybe they just might feel guilty deep down and they're projecting hatred onto us. In a segment I call Love Does Admonish, and here's today's Love Does Admonish. I can't go one way without giving the opposite way. So today we're doing I have 4 wives because I can't stop cheating.
This is Jerome. He fell in love with Jasmine. Jerome cheated in all his previous relationships.
I never felt like one female could amount to everything that I wanted. Jasmine was dope. She was able to cook. She was able to clean.
So the couple
All right, Jerome and Jasmine. Okay, but here we go. We got 3 other ladies entering the picture. Looks like this one's a white girl. All right, we'll see here.
Decided to open up their relationship, and now Jerome has 4 wives.
We don't have a maximum limit of people in a relationship.
We don't have a maximum limit of
has
people.
Scrutinized their way of life.
This old man is pimping y'all young, dumb A-words.
Okay, she's not white.
Jerome's sibling
just
is
light
coming
skinned.
over to discuss how they feel about the ever-growing household.
I laughed at it. I thought y'all was just a big joke. I thought y'all was on some freaky type
Hi,
shit.
I'm Deja.
Hi, I'm Jasmine.
Hey, I'm Tisha.
Hi, I'm Jasmine.
And we're all dating the same man.
I'm Jerome, and this is Jasmine.
We've been together 6 years.
But wait a minute. Okay, so here's the thing I always ask with polyamory. You use the word dating, and the word dating gets thrown around a lot to mean a lot of different things. And the word polyamory gets thrown around a lot to mean a lot of things. And this is part of my problem with the English language, because even the word marriage gets thrown around a lot to mean a lot of different things. You talking about your oath to God? You talking about your oath to your wife? Or you talking about the piece of paper from the government? Like what kind of what part of the marriage isn't working for you, or what part of the marriage are you seeking here? And so when this guy says, or when these ladies say they're dating this guy, now granted, we all use shorthand, right? I'm trying not to be pedantic. I'm trying not to be Asperger-ish about it, right? But like my brain goes to, okay, well, is this serious dating? Is this, which part of the dual mating strategy is this guy having with each of these women, right? Are these the exciting short-term relationships, or are these meant to be the long-term established relationships? Well, and I think most of you out there would say the latter's kind of harder to find if you're dividing your attention up. So, and I would tend to agree, even though I've lived a little differently than that. Anyway, we'll continue watching.
Years. He slid in my DM on Facebook.
Slid in the
She
DMs.
slid in my room after that. My relationship history before me and Big Jazz was, I can literally say,
so he's bragging about the nookie
apartment every weekend. I had multiple partners. I never feel like one female can amount to everything that I wanted. Whether she can cook and clean, but she couldn't have sex, or she can cook, clean, have sex, but she didn't know how to be there financially. I had to have a new partner every day. I definitely was
every day
assassin.
Assassin.
Cheater. But this girl got me. I was with a whole nother woman. And just being with Jasmine, I realized that you doing more than what my woman is doing at home. And you're only 19 years old. So I was just like, this girl
is she your bottom bitch?
and I need to get Jasmine. Jasmine was dope. Did I cheat?
Did you?
I don't know.
Yeah, you cheated.
I used to cheat so much. So I ended up cheating. And then when I realized like this girl ain't playing.
So I'll tell you now, there's one red flag for me as someone who has lived a polyamorous lifestyle. People used to jokingly, "Oh, you're a player, you're a pimp," and dude, I would downplay all the great sex I was having, because I was trying not to be the fucking stereotype. I would downplay that shit like crazy. I was like, no, it's not about that. It's literally about the things I have in common with these people, blah, blah, blah. This guy's like, oh no, yeah, I fucked all these women. Like it's all about, yeah, I had her in my bed. That's after she flew in my DMs. You notice he said all these things before he said what he actually loves about this woman. He has mentioned all of these things before he mentions the things she brings to the table, the things she brings to the relationship. He's mentioned these things before he mentioned the things he brings to the relationship. These are red flags to me.
And like all the other women, I end up getting it back.
Ooh, that make it perfect.
All right, so the backstory. He found out I was.
What was that? Hang on, I gotta go back.
I end up getting it back.
What the hell is she pouring?
Ooh, that make it perfect.
I was like, she's pouring OJ, but then I'm like, no, she's pouring.
So the backstory. He found out I was interested.
She's pouring wine into the OJ.
About poly, and we tried it. We liked it. We started doing more research, and it just kind of went from there. And that's when Deja came into play. She was our first girl we tried it with.
Yeah. When Deja came in, it was just more of threesomes. And then Deja and Jasmine, they decided that they wanted to bring somebody else in.
Okay, now wait a minute. See, again, Deja came in, we had threesomes. She's an amazing person. She's an amazing, wonderful girl. She's exciting. She likes playing games with us. She likes, watching football, watching movies with us, No, we brought her in and got naked.
We brung in T-Bird.
We got Baby Jazz.
T-Bird.
She ended up doing good.
Baby Jazz.
We don't have a maximum limit of people in a relationship. We'll always have that safe space to add, but it just all depends on what we can handle mentally and physically.
Say for instance,
and chronologically and emotionally.
She said, "Hey, I want to look for a girl. I want another girl." Boom, everybody's gonna be looking, and we're gonna like do a group discussion. Oh, I found this girl. I found this girl. If everybody do like that person, whoever got the most game.
Okay, now wait a minute. So they're gonna keep recruiting girls. This is giving me like almost Epstein Island vibes, that they would have the girls recruit other girls. Like this is kind of cult like here. We'll keep watching though.
Approach her, and then we'll take that girl out on a date. It can get a little complicated.
We will take the girl out on a date.
It's not as hard as it looks. We do everything together, so you always have time to spend time with all of us.
Now we're in a polyamorous relationship. We all interact, including women interacting.
Don't eat all that shrimp, cause y'all know we gotta get some.
Y'all need to learn how to communicate.
Functional.
Her plate look bigger than my plate. You got all that food on your plate.
Worry about yourself.
We really don't have jealousy and insecurity issues. We always uplift,
bullshit.
Especially within the women. We always
call bullshit.
One another.
So like before I met them, like I was a single parent, and it was like real hard on me. But
wait, where's your kid? Where the fuck's your kid?
It's got 10 times better.
It's
Where
gonna
the
be
fuck is your
hard
kid?
to be in a poly relationship if you do have a.
Did you hear that? She just dropped. Before I met them, I was a single mother. Like past tense? Where's your kid? What the fuck?
A lot of insecurities, and if you're a jealous person, you won't be able to do it because it'll break you mentally.
So
a newsflash: everyone's a jealous person. It depends on how you handle it. Now, people who actively practice polyamory, it takes a lot of discipline to deal with the jealousy. It takes a hell of a lot of discipline, and like I said, for most dudes, especially, you know, those of us who've been in a monogamous culture our whole fucking life, like, no, just no. It's not something we can handle.
we don't all sleep together. We'll move the couches, and then this one's turned sideways.
I'll be right here.
With my ear snoring.
And they both snore to death.
Wait, they sleep on the fucking couch?
When it comes to household chores, one person might be cleaning the kitchen, one person might be cooking, one person.
Okay, so let me just point something out, folks. Let me give you a little secret. The sleeping together don't work. You can't sleep in a bed full of people. Someone's always got to get up to pee, and someone's laying on your arm. It's just, don't do it. Don't do it. You can't fall asleep in a bed where other people, especially if you're in the middle. Like you can't do it. Someone's going to need a drink. Someone's going to need to get up and have a cigarette or something. Something. And they're going to disturb the whole bed full of people. No one's going to get any fucking sleep. And then someone's going to start coughing. Someone's going to start snoring. Just don't do it. Right? Take turns. Take turns.
They might be doing the kids' hair or helping the kids with homework. You
got kids too. Oh.
To make six figure as a person in the household, either just two people, you gotta work majority of the time, and a lot of that time that you working, you're never gonna have time for your child. I definitely feel like all the women need to be met, especially when I see that they're benefiting and they're grasping and they're gaining a lot within just being into the relationship.
Wait, what?
People on social media can be very critical.
Yeah, like me right now. Hang on. Now, wait a minute. You were talking about the kids, and now you're talking about the women. Like, you flowed from one to the other, almost as if you view these women as your kids. This is weird, man. This is fucking weird.
Hey, y'all. So,
this is weird, and that's coming from a guy who's kind of lived a similar lifestyle. So, if I'm judging, you know it's bad.
Old man is pimping y'all young, dumb A-words. Y'all are gonna have so many infections. This generation needs.
Okay, yeah, the infections thing. Yeah, that's a thing. Like they can. All it takes is for one chick to get a little bacteria, and which is a lot easier if you're having threesomes, and the dude's transferring those bacteria back and forth. It's a real thing. It's a real concern.
A lot of praying.
Condoms, people. Condoms.
And this goes against God's will. I will pray for y'all.
Goes against
It's
God's
a
will.
lot
Yes,
of
this
negative
is true
stuff.
too.
We get a lot of different reactions.
Yeah, it's satisfying to the lust inside of you, but to be honest, your soul doesn't get as much satisfaction.
We have good reactions, but we have majority of negative reactions, of course. We are insecure. We don't know our worth. They be like, they're young. Well, how old do we need to be to date?
I feel like people think we're playing because we're young, but like we take.
Okay, so on the one hand, you see, this is why these kind of relationships are hard to handle, because you're too young to see all the challenges that a long-term committed relationship can have. So I'm assuming that's your goal here, is to be long-term committed to this guy. But like I said, he still has yet to mention what he sees in each one of y'all. If he can't reiterate that to you, what he sees in you, what he finds admirable about you, other than, you got them thighs and that ass, right? If he doesn't love who you are under all that, like once your titties start sagging and your ass starts getting flabby, that shit's not going to work in your 50s. And y'all are going to be lonely. So when they say you're young, making these decisions when you're young, there's less consequences, but the consequences are greater.
It's serious. Some people are just mad because they don't have what we have. Like, they want this. People don't understand that.
Legitimately, I'm a degenerate
with just Jerome. Like, we're in a relationship.
I'm a degenerate, and this is ideal for me. But again, I watch things like this, and I'm like, this is why it's going to fail. This is why things fail. And it's like there's no right way to do it, but there are a lot of fucking wrong ways to do it.
Relationship with each other.
So my sibling Unique is coming over, and it's gonna be interesting.
Sibling Unique?
So as far as with me and my relationship with my family, it's more of I really didn't care how they felt.
Okay, so then this is the question: would you want your sister being a part of a relationship like this?
My brother, he was the only one that I felt like he had a problem with, and I really value his opinion because that's my big brother. So I thought I'd be seeing you.
Hey. Why you looking all sexy?
Wait, I'm confused. Wait, is your brother trans now? You said your brother had a problem, but you bring someone female presenting onto the show to talk about it.
I ain't seen you in a long time. When we was younger, you used to say that, you couldn't be with one woman because of simple fact, one woman could possess what you wanted. Yeah. You got 5. Mm-hmm. Is all that collectively fulfilling you? I mean, I feel like you fulfill them. I feel like I found already that one woman that fulfilled me in every way.
Okay, so here's what he's saying, right? It's not fulfilling, but it's filling, and it's distracting enough to distract from the things you're missing. And like, if you're a very complex dude, like my brain is way fucking complex, like you get into a relationship. This is why monogamy does not work for every single person to me, because you start focusing on the imperfections, and you start resenting each other and hating each other, and you almost need that distraction. You almost need something to take away from those negative thoughts. You need a hobby. And all men, trust me, all men have to have some kind of outlet. You all need football, cars, politics, a hobby, fucking Magic the Gathering, something to distract you from the imperfections of your relationships, to be able to just tolerate living life with another person, whether it's a roommate, a love, whatever, just existing in the space with another person. There are always going to be imperfections, and you need ways to escape from that. This is a lesson I tried to teach my son that ultimately drove my son away from me. Otherwise, you're in a codependent relationship, which is just as healthy as this polyamory shit. And so for me, and I'm assuming for this gentleman, that not feeling fulfilled, it's just a distraction from that. And don't get me wrong, it's an unhealthy distraction, just as much as whiskey dangerous, risky, extreme sports and stuff. You know, it's all dangerous, but we're men. We can handle it. We got ours, right? Anyway, we'll see what he has to say about how he met the one woman who is fulfilling, but yet he still had to have more.
So now it's more of just like it's not me trying to find fulfilledness within a woman no more. It's more of me trying to build a generation because I know I got kids.
I like that.
So it's not looking for that no more.
Build a generation because I know I have kids.
Oh, well, look at that.
Oh my God, it's so nice to see you.
Hey. How are you?
How you doing? I'm good.
That's good.
So what did you think about me and Jerome opening up our relationship when you heard?
I laughed at it. I thought y'all was just a big joke. I thought y'all was on some freaky type till I actually seen what y'all was
but
doing.
it is freaky
Once
type
I got
shit.
to see y'all on social media and seeing
it is freaky type
the
shit.
businesses y'all started doing and the advocacy y'all started
what
doing.
Reasons? What advocacy?
Doing collectively.
See, this is the first I'm hearing of this shit. Why aren't they talking about it?
We're going to have to keep doing this more often.
And we will. There's more pressure on a man being poly than it is on a woman. Honestly, it's 20 times easier on a woman, if you ask me, than it is on a man, especially when it comes to mental, when it comes to sex, and when it comes to everything else. Okay, everybody.
Well, yeah, men have to be a provider, but the jealousy
circle time
on the women, and that's the dangerous part.
When it comes to conflict and tension, poly is good.
Like the hard responsibility is on the women, but more responsibilities are on the man because the man has to manage expectations so that the jealousy doesn't become forced. Like you're trying not to step on that landmine, and you know you're going to step on one of the landmines. You just hope it's not so explosive that it blows everything up. And so, yeah, the pressure is on a man, but the women have it too.
Because when you do have those tough conversations, you kind of like you have a mediator. Any conflict, we really to pretty much have that energy circle. We do this weekly or as much as needed.
Okay, here we go.
That anybody want to speak on? Like you said, you feel like T have something that she's holding in.
Yeah, I definitely feel like you holding something in, just by your energy.
Yeah, I just feel in my head a lot. Just been in my head.
You feel like you need more time with me.
I feel like we don't really talk for real. Like, I don't know. Like just like one-on-one.
I feel like you're right. You have been working.
Yep, she wants one-on-one time. See, this is the problem.
That's something that I feel like
sometimes you got to sacrifice the one-on-one or kick it down the road, and until you get to that point, it's fucking building in you.
Y'all are equal.
1 through 10.
1 through 10.
Wait a minute. Whoa. Y'all are equal, but remember what he just told his brother is that I met the one who fulfilled me. Doesn't sound equal to me. Sounds like she's the bottom bitch, right? Am I wrong about this? Tell me I'm wrong.
I would say a 7.
What about you?
5.
I'm gonna say 9.
I'm saying 6.
Okay. I would say a 10.
Wait, what are they rating again?
What about you?
1 through 10.
1 through 10.
Ah, damn it, it's still in here.
That's something that I feel like it's on me to be able to do and be able to give you. Now, I wanted to ask you guys something. How much do y'all feel like?
How much do y'all feel like?
Y'all are equal.
Y'all are equal.
I would say.
Okay, now I gotta hear it again.
How you feel like you being loved?
I would say a 7.
7.
What about you?
5.
5.
I'm gonna say 9.
9.
I'm saying 6.
Okay. I would say a 10. I would say it's definitely dope. I would say y'all been doing
yeah,
good.
he's feeling more than a 10. He's feeling
so
40.
It be a 7 at all.
Okay, maybe I answered the question wrong.
Okay, so Jazz needs more love. T needs more attention.
Bring it in.
This one too.
I do feel like once.
Okay, so this is what
you would.
So this is I will.
It's going to be
this
hard
gives me
to
hope.
go back to them and
like everything I said.
Make my life harder when I can have it.
I'm going to clarify in a second.
When you actually just take a chance and just understand and see that people can love differently, it really don't matter what you have or how you have it. I feel like it comes in all forms and shapes and sizes.
Okay, so here's what you got to do. You got to take the excitement and get fucking rid of it. Like, don't ever be excited. Like, everyone's going to see you and think you're the luckiest guy in the world. You got 4 hot babes, right? With big booties. And yeah, no. I have 4 responsibilities. And it requires an immense amount of self-reflection. So that question he asked, like, rank it 1 to 10, I find it funny because it's kind of like my little talk I do about, how each relationship, you can never be a 10 in every category, but overall, how do you feel? Right? And I like that he asked them that. That gives me a little hope, but I have big but. You got to keep that self-reflection and quit celebrating. You've got to quit celebrating. As awesome as he might think this lifestyle is, you cannot celebrate. If you celebrate, then it really it comes off as selfish. You just had 3 women tell you that they don't feel like they're being completely loved. And 1 woman who gave you a 9, which still isn't max, right? That means there's work to do. But in every relationship, there's work to do. In every relationship. This is why I hesitate to talk about polyamory, because to me, all of these lessons about polyamory, all of these conversations about polyamory, they have nothing to do with polyamory. Nothing to do with polyamory. And all to do with how do you satisfy someone you love? And what do you expect out of someone you love? Yeah. To the monogamous brain, that sounds like, oh, well, you just want to fuck someone else and that's not me, so therefore blah, blah, blah. But no, it's literally deeper than that. And when you see these videos of these people interacting, your gut instinct is, oh, how do they fucking put up with it? But if you look deeper at what are they getting out of it? And again, I'm not meaning for this to be polyamory propaganda. I definitely am not. I'm warning monogamous people the lessons you can learn about getting fulfillment out of your relationships, about not being codependent, about maintaining an independence about yourself while still maintaining your oath to God and family and country, your oath to honor, cherish, and obey your partner, your ability to just breathe and be an individual and be a person and have your own things. I live with my partner. We spend a insane amount of time together. We love each other very much. But I'll tell you, there's 2 days a week where, well, there's really more than 2, but there's 2 days a week where we insist this is solo time. This block of time is solo time. One of us will leave the house, go have dinner by ourselves, or go to a movie, or go to a theme park. This is our time by ourselves. You do your thing. I'm going to go do my thing. And it's important for us to get away from each other and be individuals a couple of times a week. I highly recommend that for everyone in a marriage, for everyone in a relationship, not just degenerate perverts like myself who, prefer a polyamory style relationship, and guys like this. Because here's the thing. One of the things that I credit with destroying my marriage isn't the polyamory. It's that the polyamory took so much time and created so much loneliness, yet I was never alone. I never had time for myself, and therefore I was never a complete person, a complete partner to my partners. I never had the things I needed out of life, so therefore I wasn't able to give the things I needed to give to make them happy. And it was only a matter of time. Like I said, it's only a matter of time before you step on the landmine. It's going to happen. But it also happens in monogamous relationships. It's only a matter of time before you step on the mine until you don't. Not everyone can live a long, happy, healthy marriage. And even the guys that do, I mean, there are people that get divorced in their 70s. It happens. But again, some of that happens because, women have fond memories of their dual mating strategy days and think they can recapture it when they're an old lady. How Stella got her groove back and all that. Anyway, so that's Miles Culture Plate for August the 10th. I would like to take just a moment and say, go Chiefs. I know Patrick Mahomes in it's a preseason game, so the starters are only going to play the first couple series. But definitely I'm hoping Chiefs can pull out a win against the Jacksonville Jaguars. And yeah, hopefully it's an interesting week of football. I heard the Bears and Bills played earlier. I have no idea what the score is. I'm going to have to look that up at the end of the show here. But yeah, you can catch me this Wednesday, 6 p.m. Central. That should still be on. Have no plans for that. But again, we might need to make these weekends a little more flexible because I am spending a little more time with family and doing a little more things. And then now we've got the football season coming up, and I'm not sure. Some of these weekend shows might need to be a little more flexible. So please keep an eye out for time. But for the most part, I'm going to try to keep them 6 p.m. Central. Same bat time, same bat channel. But today was a little early due to the celebrating and the football and the family and the barbecue and the whiskey. Anyway, folks, so again, big thank you to Apocryphal World Records for being my lone person to come in and say hi. And a shout out to everyone out there who's watching this later on demand. I appreciate everyone for stopping by. Just do me one favor. Please click that like button. And if you're new here, please follow, share, subscribe, all that stuff. And please consider, if you're new here, to watch a second video. Watch a second video. It really helps out with the algorithm. All right. So yeah, that's going to be the show for today. Take care of yourselves and each other. Outlast those haters. Don't get any on you. And if you do, rub it in real good. I'll catch you next time on Miles Culture Plate. Everybody have a wonderful weekend and go Chiefs!